Welcome to Off Script with Dan Dwyer on Robin Hood Radio, featuring in-depth interviews with guests from the world of theater and allied arts. Underwriting support from Johnny Cake Books in Salisbury, Connecticut, whose collection of rare, collectible, and out-of-print books is housed in a 19th century cottage in one of the most old-fashioned small towns in New England. And now, here's the host of Off Script, Dan Dwyer.
Well, thank you, Marshall. One of the biggest names in country music is getting a new twist in the next couple of weeks right here in the Northwest Corner. The Sharon Playhouse is presenting a musical play, we'll get into that, called Always, Patsy Cline, which tells the true story of Louise Sager and her friendship with country superstar Patsy Cline from when they first met in the Esquire Ballroom in Houston until Cline's untimely death. With me today is in the studio are the two actors portraying these women, Allison Ongrim as Louise and Carter Calvert as Patsy.
Hey.
Hey, Allison, of course, is known to television audiences for her role as Nellie Olson in the hugely successful series Little House on the Prairie. And Carter was part of the original cast of It Ain't Nothing But the Blues on Broadway and then has done loads of musical performances in theaters across the country. Welcome. Can I say ladies, women, gals?
Sure.
What's
Ladies,
appropriate?
Girls, gals, whatever.
We
go
Patsy
for anything.
Cline kind of thing. Okay. So welcome to Sharon. Is this your first stay or work in the area?
This is my first time. I'm already trying to figure out how I can be here forever. It's so wonderful here, and I'm just having a ball.
I've never been here. I've been to Hartford before. I did like a book signing there and whatnot,
Sure.
and the Mark Twain stuff. But no, I have never been out here. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's a whole different part of Connecticut. When you say the Northwest Corner to Hartford, fewer people will know of it than if you said probably to people in Westchester and New York City. But anyway, so let's get to the point, which is to talk about Patsy Cline. Now, Carter, you're playing Patsy.
I'm playing Patsy.
And you've done the role before.
I have done the role before.
A lot.
A lot.
Okay, so let me...
Very lucky.
So, Allison, this is the first time you've done the role?
Oh, my God, yes.
It
I
is.
have not,
Okay.
yes.
So-
She can sing. See, she can actually sing. So
Uh-huh.
she's Patsy.
Right.
I'm just crazy, so I'm Louise.
Crazy.
And hilarious.
Hilarious. Isn't that a song in the
That
musical play?
is the song.
And so
Okay.
apt in this particular...
Who wants to set this up?
Well, the show, as you just brilliantly presented it really is the memory that Louise Seeger had of who is a real live person who meets her idol, Patsy Cline, and befriends her, and she ends up inviting Patsy Cline to her house, and they spend the night, and it's just they forge a real friendship, and it's just it's a really heartwarming story peppered with all of Patsy Cline's greatest hits.
Right. So this happened when in the 1950s because Patsy died, at the age of 30, was it?
Yeah, she was 30 years old.
So when did they meet? How old was she?
In like 61.
Yeah.
So Patsy was how
At the
old?
Esquire Ballroom.
Right.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
I got to bring out the
Well,
abacus.
how long did they know each other?
Oh gosh, well it was really just this brief period of a couple of days. What happened is and that's why it's so crazy. It's completely a true story, and that she just idolized her. I mean, to the point where excessive, and then. But then they do actually have things in common, and they do hit it off. And so they spend that one evening, and even as Louise says, oh, well, I won't hear from her again. And they start, she says, this series of phone calls and letters. They had this long friendship by mail right up until really the day of her
time
death.
that she died.
Wow.
I mean, she was like writing to her right before she got on the plane.
And I went to the Nashville Museum for Patsy Cline, and you see the actual letters.
Oh, they have them all
it's
there.
really special.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you because you've performed this before. I think at the Algonquin Playhouse up in Maine, a very successful venue.
Yeah, Algonquin, yes.
Yep. Which our new managing directors at Sharon Playhouse know a little bit about.
Yes,
right?
they
Because
do.
Just a tiny bit.
They've got a good portfolio of experience
They
there
sure
that
do.
they've brought to Sharon. But how did the play come about? Who wrote it and adapted it and put it together?
Ted Swinley, befriended Louise Seeger. That's he created this amazing show that's one of the most produced shows of all time.
Right. It's let me ask a dumb question. Is Louise still alive?
No, she
okay.
passed away in the early 2000s.
Okay, yeah. Well, all right. In case you've just joined us, my guest today, Allison Ongrim, who's playing Louise, and Carter Calvert, who's playing her best friend, Patsy Cline, in a musical play
Yes.
called Always Patsy Cline that's going to be at the Sharon Playhouse starting August 17 and running through September 2. All seats are as low as $20, and all the seats on Thursday night, as it has been all summer, are going to be $20 too, so there's a good chance for everyone to come down. Okay, so how many songs? Everybody knows the Patsy Cline songs, right?
Well, you practically do the whole catalog. It's
Well, you
crazy.
Know what, you know what's so interesting? I meet people after the show. They come up and see me, and I think Allison's going to be there as well. We want to meet everybody.
Okay, so let's do a little theater vocabulary here
Okay.
first. It's a two-hander.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
so
a
explain-
two-hander.
Two-hander.
Well,
Explain
look
what
at
that
you.
means.
I know all the
said to
lingo.
me, it was almost like, because I do a one-woman show, it's almost like two one-woman shows, and they took them and squished them together.
Yes.
If you had a one-woman evening of I am Patsy Cline,
Right,
with
which I
Carter
do.
Calvert, right, there you go. And if you had a I am Louise Seeger a whole evening, and you took these and then went squish, because it is very much, although it is Louise's story, it is very much Patsy's story. And so it is. It's almost like two one-woman shows, and they're just sort of meshed together. It's kind of fabulous.
Okay, a two-hander, and there's a six-piece band on the stage.
Yes.
Live band on stage with pedal steel and fiddle.
And real piano.
Wow.
Real beautiful piano,
Wow.
which is really wonderful.
Okay, so how do you, in a two-hander, that's a story about this relationship between
Louise.
Louise, I have a sister named Louise. I hope she's not listening. And
Louise!
and Patsy Cline. How do you fit songs into a play so that it doesn't sound like, well, here we're going to have some dialogue, and now we're going to sing a song, and then we're going to go back to dialogue, stop, go, stop, go. How do you avoid that?
It is gorgeously put together, I have to say, very seamless. Louise is sort of chronicling Patsy Cline's career in terms of how she first discovered her on the Arthur Godfrey show, on the Ed Sullivan show, and you see Patsy Cline starting out in her career as a young girl, and then progressing into this country superstar, where they meet on sort of the verge of her becoming a big, huge sensation.
Louise is sort of giving like her testimony of how I met the great Patsy Cline. And when she first started saying, well, I loved listening to her on the radio. Oh, well, and here she is
And
now.
here's Walking After
So
Midnight.
There's of those kind of things. And then there are the almost surreal moments talking about things and go, well, you know.
And the
it's
song is
just
appropriate
song.
there.
And then the fun part is I join in. Now, the real Louise wanted to be a singer. She said that's how I always wanted to sing like Patsy Cline, but probably not quite as. And I sing less good than that. And so I am not a singer.
Is that the dialect? Is that the dialect that you use in the play?
I do a little bit like Louise because she was from the South and then lived in Texas, so she got a bit of a twang there.
Okay.
Well, in
And
real
are
life,
you
I'm
in
not much of a
Patsy
singer.
Cline Southern?
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Patsy's way country,
she's,
yeah.
She's deep and low, and yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
Okay.
I do not sing in real life, but that's the wonderful thing. He's teaching me to sing through the course of the show. It's getting crazy. I don't, but that's the thing is Louise winds up joining in, so I wind up in these things where I'm dancing and singing along with the chorus and pulled into her whole musical extravaganzas.
And the way they met is the Patsy in concert her in her town, and
in
so
this Esquire
yes,
ballroom.
so there's
Esquire
also
Ballroom.
a concert that takes place, and of course
Got it.
Louise is not content to just let Patsy sing her song. She joins in on the fun.
Well, I'm trying to be
comedy
helpful.
ensues. Yes,
Right.
She's
I'm
my
very
manager.
helpful.
Okay, so Allison, you said that it seems as if sometimes you're playing the whole Patsy Cline portfolio, but how many songs do you
many?
touch?
27 songs.
27. You don't do all.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do all 27 songs in completely. Or do
There's
you?
Wow.
there's some really interesting sort of mashups, but
You have the one medley thing.
yeah,
where you get a couple minutes
that's
in it.
Sweet Dreams into She's Got You, which is pretty
I would
wonderful.
say you do at least 24 to full completion.
Yes.
At least.
Wow.
Yes, but with some dialogue from Louise.
And the band with the pedal steel.
And the band,
fiddle
what
and
amazing
yeah,
band.
it's
Do you
insane.
run through? Is it 2x?
It's 2 acts.
Oh, good.
Yes,
So
2 acts.
running time is
So
about...
everybody gets a chance to get a Schlitz on the patio.
Okay.
And you can go out and gossip
Okay.
about us at intermission.
Okay,
yes.
we'll do our best.
And then you can meet
people
us
around here
after.
like to do that.
And you-
I think people everywhere like to do
Oh,
that.
yeah. And then you can talk to us after, because we are going to come on the patio after, because, she has 3 CDs out, and then I have a book out, and we will have all our things there, and if you want to come, buy something, get it signed,
And
what
get
have you,
pictures
we're
and
all
all
that
Okay,
kind of
so
stuff. Do
we
that.
don't want to talk about too much about other things, but while you mentioned your book, what's the title of your book?
Well, as you know, I was rather rotten on the show. I have an autobiography called Confessions of a Prairie Bitch. How I survived Nellie Olson and learned to love being hated.
Which is, I have to say, I was just on vacation right before we came here, and there are several pictures of me on a float in the middle of the ocean reading this amazing. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, it's an incredible read.
So you've never before?
Never.
Okay, so you're sitting here like two sisters who like up
Yeah.
together, right?
Oh my God, I put your picture on Facebook, and one of my friends said, "When did you have a twin sister? What is
Oh,
going
yes.
on?" And I was like, right, okay. It's
I
just
know.
Like the
When I
twinsy
saw
thing
your
here.
picture, I went, "Ooh, that's we're identical twins."
Identical.
Okay, so I went on YouTube. I did a little bit of cheating
Okay.
because there's great clips. If anybody really wants to get juiced up to see this production, if you go on YouTube, you can see you performing.
Yes.
I think mostly at the Algonquin Playhouse, maybe other places.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
El
there's
Portal.
El Portal,
LA.
Algonquin. Yes.
Right, but your presentation of Patsy Cline is really uncanny.
Oh,
Right.
thank you. Well,
it's
I am
really amazing.
Thank you so much. My father, when I was 7 years old, got a blue Pontiac and an 8-track tape player. And he subscribed to the 8-track tape of the month club. And every month there would be something to torture us. But then Patsy Cline showed up, and at the age of 7, I was a huge fan of hers, and have continued to be.
So did you go up to your bedroom and stand in front of the mirror and and
yes,
lip sync
I
Patsy
was
Cline?
her at 7 years.
Oh, my
I
God.
lived her, and so to get to do this amazing play with this amazing talent is just a dream. At this amazing playhouse is a dream come true.
Okay, so let me ask you a fine line question.
Sure.
When you're doing Patsy Cline, you're doing Patsy Cline in full performance and full song.
Mm-hmm.
In your head, are you doing an interpretation of Patsy Cline, or are you doing a recreation of Patsy
I
Cline?
like that you said interpretation, because a lot of people say impersonation, which I find a little offensive.
It is. It
Because,
is.
you think of Elvis at the mall or something like that.
or I use the term recreation, which might be gentler
I
than
feel like it's an
impersonation.
interpretation of her, because she was a master storyteller, and she had this, rich, throaty tone, which I embrace in real life.
You've got a nice throaty tone.
Thank
too.
you. Well, especially this time of the
Yeah, I
morning.
know. We're not
And,
none of us are in full voice this
And
morning.
so I just, I enjoy being the catalyst to tell these amazing stories. And she had a really kind of tortured life. And so there's a lot of sadness and depth and drama to her. And as an actress, that's just, that's delicious. So I really embrace being this catalyst as this amazing storyteller.
Hold that thought.
I think
Hold
she
that thought.
channels her.
Okay,
I-
hold that
this is
thought.
channeling.
The thought of pain. But hold that thought. Not to bring this on a bummer, but let's tell everybody who we're talking to, what we're talking about. We're talking about the musical play called Always, Patsy Cline, that's running at Sharon Playhouse Thursday nights, $20 every seat, from August 17th through September 2nd. The program right now is off script, and my guests are Allison R. Grimm, who plays, and Carter Calvert, who plays Patsy. Pain in songs, okay? Everybody who sings a song's got pain, okay?
Yes.
Question to Louise and question to Patsy. What's the source of the pain that Patsy sings about? And to Louise, what's the pain that might identify her with Patsy?
Well, I think both of them, one of the big one was the marital problems, because Patsy was married more than once, and even the guy that she says was the great love of her life that she stayed married to, it was just a constant battle. They were in a volatile relationship, and Louise also was married several times and had difficulty finding true love and was raising kids by herself and having to work and having to balance working and her kids and not having a man and having romantic problems, and that's one of the reasons, there's a line in one of of Louise's interviews where she says, we both came up the same way. And so she bonded with someone who was a scrapper and had come up from nothing and achieved something, even though the men were no good and she had to take care of the kids by herself.
So in the play, what's the song that you're singing in the ballroom when Louise says, "Oh my God, that's me"?
That's on Arthur Godfrey. It's when it's Walking After Midnight. Walking After Midnight. It's the first song I hear.
Where you say that sounds like how I have always wanted to sing.
I always wanted to say that's where I freak out. Is when I hear Walking After Midnight.
And can I just speak to something that, as someone who's done this show a lot, people come up to me and they'll say, I wasn't sure if I was going to like this show. I don't really know Patsy Cline's music.
Right.
I kind of just came because somebody invited me.
Everybody knows Patsy
Which
Cline's
makes me,
music.
I always have to take a deep breath, And then they say, and it turns out I knew every single one of these songs. My mom played these songs in the kitchen. This was my aunt's favorite song. My dad loved Patsy. They'll come up in tears and just say, I had no idea how much I was going to love this show. And that's always fun because I say, challenge accepted. If you're not a Patsy Cline fan when you walk in the door, it is my job to make sure you are one when you walk out of the theater.
You're on. Good challenge accepted.
And she took on a lot of the men's music of the day, like Hank Williams. And so there is something in the show that is for everybody.
Every radio host, I think, does the common thing these days. You Wikipedia everything so you can, like a cramming for a test in college or something. So I read on Wikipedia that she was really one of the guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And she was also a pioneer in women's music. She was one of the first women to demand equal pay for the same work that that another male country star of the day was making. And she was one of the first women to ever headline in Las Vegas.
Is that right?
Which is really,
she was
wonderful.
the first crossover star.
Well, that's it, from country to pop.
And she really did not
standards.
embrace.
She fought everything.
She really wanted to sing honky tonk. She did not appreciate
her
being a
hit
pop
songs.
star.
I swear, every hit song. I'm reading the book and I'm like, okay, every single one of her hits. She said, I'm not recording that.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And it's
luckily
you mean
she
crazy. Oh yeah, she fought crazy, tooth and nail.
Yes.
It's funny. She was like, no, that's not the right one. Of course it was.
But wasn't she the first country western star or singer to make the cross between the country top 40 and the pop top 40?
Absolutely, yes.
Right, right.
And here's a little fun fact for you listeners out there. There was an unknown songwriter who was 19 years old named Hugh Nelson who approached her husband, Charlie Dick, in Tootsie's Orchid Lounge and said, I think I've written your wife's next big hit. And so, back then they had records. I don't know if you remember the round things that you
vinyl. They call it vinyl.
You youngins out there.
Yeah.
And it was Hugh Nelson's voice, who later became Willie Nelson. That song was Crazy, and it became Patsy Cline's biggest hit.
What do you think is her signature song? Do you think it's Crazy?
Crazy, absolutely.
Yeah. What was her favorite?
I don't know what her favorite was.
What's your
but
favorite?
My favorite is You Belong to Me. That's one of my all-time favorites.
Do we know that?
Oh, I think so. Goodness, I need some more coffee, but if you keep talking, I'll remember who.
It's funny because
which song do you get to do with?
It's funny because it's one of Louise's favorite, but I really do like I Fall to Pieces best. I think I Fall to Pieces is just fantastic. And the way Patsy does it and the way it's just amazing. My favorite number in the show, I like Shake, Rattle, and Roll.
Yes.
Because, it's all the fun dancing, carrying on, but also I like it because I sing along. And Shake, Rattle, and Roll has about one note.
And you
it's
sing
really
it perfectly.
Easy. I can sing Shake, Rattle, and Roll. I muddle through the Rattle and Roll. It's fun.
The other thing I noticed when I was trolling YouTube in anticipation of this convo, costumes.
Oh, yes.
Wow. So how many,
how many times?
Now, Allison, you're going to be a little jealous because you don't get as many costume changes.
I never
as
leave. I have one outfit. It's fabulous. I have a fabulous wig. I have these cowboy boots. I have these pink cowgirl boots. They are the cutest things you ever saw.
They are.
And you know that they are comfortable. I got them new, and you get new shoes for a show. You think, these are the most comfortable things I ever put on my feet. I'm going to start wearing cowboy boots from now on. I swear.
Makes
one
sense.
cute
People
outfit.
step in them. So
you change your clothes how many freaking times in the show?
Lord. Lord, a lot. I think it's like 16 times or something like that. And every outfit that I'm wearing in the show was created from this costume designer from the Cincinnati Playhouse named Gordon Venny. And he was so meticulous. Every is something that Patsy Cline has been photographed on her record. I mean, he was painstaking in recreating the look of Patsy. And of course, I have a Patsy Cline wig. I'm blonde in real life, but I really look like her when you see the show.
You know, if anybody wants to go on YouTube, you can see how you look like. Okay, let's stick to the fashion stuff because the other thing the other thing I learned is that Patsy was the first one who showed up in working or professional situations, or perhaps even on stage, in slacks.
Ooh.
Is that true?
If you say so.
I think that's entirely possible because when you
Yeah.
look at all the old TV shows and the old stuff with the country singers, and then there's Patsy. She is in slacks when everyone's in a guy. In fact, that was one of the things in one of the books about her. They were talking about that usually when they introduced a girl singer, they'd say, "And here's pretty little Miss so and so, our next little gal," and they would say, "And now Miss Patsy Cline."
Right,
It was
right.
like you did not call her that. It was she set a line of what she would duff.
And when she first started out, she would wear these cowgirl outfits with sparkles and dangles. And her mom made these costumes for her. And I saw them at the Patsy Cline Museum in Nashville. And I mean, they look identical to what I am wearing in the show. I took a picture of it and sent it to my costume designer back in Cincinnati. And I said, which is your design and which is Patsy Cline's mom's? I mean, they look identical. And her mom was a master seamstress. So she looked like a star at a very young age.
But she started out in a country western mode.
Yes,
But at the
very
end of her
much.
career, she was real. She brought the cocktail dress
She
to country
brought
western,
the
right?
cocktail dress.
Sequins.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
She was very elegant.
So do you have a lot of satiny kind of things
I
that
do.
you wear?
I
Yeah.
do. I have. Yes, I have this gorgeous blue, sort of almost couture-looking dress that I wear in the Esquire ballroom. Shoes. Exquisite jewelry. I mean, it's fun. And people come up and they're like, "Yeah, your singing was good, but oh, those costumes, those were so amazing. How many times do you change? How do you know?" So it's fun.
Yeah.
And it really tells her story. You really see her evolving into a country superstar.
So how many Louises have you worked with?
I have worked with 4. This will be my fourth
I am
Louise.
your fourth Louise.
You were my
Louise.
fourth
And of course,
Louise.
you had Sally Struthers
I
for
did,
years
but
and years and years.
We
She's
just
been your
worked
Louise.
together prior to me coming here. So yes.
Yeah.
Who's amazing.
Well, when you because you know the role so well, and
Mm-hmm.
you're working with someone like Allison who learning the role, right? You've
Right.
never done
This
it
is all
before.
new to me.
What's that like? I mean, are you
It's
saying
amazing.
like, okay, come on, you know that line. I know that line too.
Right,
Right.
You know what? I enjoy the creative process. As an actress, I always as before.
That's what we
I'm
did
like-
last week.
I'm like, wait a minute. What you're doing is fun. Hey, could we try this? You know, and so we have really made the show our own and appeal to our different strengths.
So
To
are
me,
you?
it's like coming into a TV series where it's already been running for a while because you're working with these guys and you all know each other. And I mean, you got your husband on the drums, for
got
heaven's
my
sake.
husband on the
So,
gig.
you know, it's like
Is
coming
your
into
real
a-
husband on
My
the
real
phone?
husband.
Right?
Really?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that- and she makes fun of him during the show. It's
Yeah,
kind of
which
awesome.
is always fun.
Well, so it's like coming into a long-running show, and I'm coming in and taking over this character. But that's the thing is because there's little quirks and things like, well, I'm doing this. It's like, oh, you're doing that. Ooh, that's interesting. So
Yes.
it's like, well, now that we're doing that, let's do this over here.
Yes.
So it's like kind of breathing a little fresh, life into the thing.
Absolutely. It's a whole different show, and I am loving every second.
We've got one more time for
Mm-hmm.
for one more question. So I'm going to ask the same question of both of you. What did you learn that was most revelatory to you, Louise, about Patsy Cline? And Patsy or Carter, what did you learn about a particular actress that you hadn't realized before?
Oh, I
Not a
was-
trick question,
I
I'm
kind of
sorry.
want to speak
Right.
more to the actress. Can I speak
Yeah,
more to
sure.
Allison?
Yeah.
Because I think I was a little like terrified. You know, I'm working with Nellie. I was like, she's gonna punch me in the face and steal, and talk about me. Allison is truly one of the nicest people
And
I've
Allison?
ever worked with.
Well, the thing that's fascinating about the show, and it's about really kind of the nature of fame and about fandom is one of the
Yeah.
big elements. And it's fascinating to me because, well, I've kind of been on the other end,
Yeah.
where I have people come and go, I've always wanted to meet you, and I've seen every one of your shows, and now I'm standing there pumping her hand and going, and you just have no idea how much I love you.
That's
and
fascinating.
I'm sort of now having this fabulous, like, this sort of role playing what it's like. I mean, okay, when I met Stevie Wonder, I pretty much lost my mind. So,
Of
it's not
course.
like it's not happened to me. But I'm sort of reversing it. It's been a fabulous experience. Made me more empathetic to my fans than I already was.
Allison Ongrim,
Yes.
thank you very much. As
Thank you, thank
Louise, Patsy Cline's best friend at the Sharon Playhouse, in a play called Always Patsy Cline, a musical play, or play with music.
Yes, come
Called
see
Always
us. And
Patsy
then come
Cline.
see
And
us.
thank you to
Come see
Carter
us.
Calvert. Again, the play's running from August 17th through September 2. All seats start as low as $20, and every seat on Thursday night is just $20. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Carter and Allison, for being here. Thank you for listening to Off Script. Until the next time you tune in, please, as a dear departed friend of mine used to tell me all the time, be well.
Underwriting support for Off Script with Dan Dwyer from Johnny Cake Books in Salisbury, Connecticut, whose collection of rare, collectible, and out-of-print books is housed in a 19th century cottage in one of the most old-fashioned small towns in New England. Off Script with Dan Dwyer is also available via podcast on our on-demand page, robinhoodradio.com. Click on On Demand, and then click on Off Script with Dan Dwyer.